I am Scented Fawn, a traveler of the fragrant Spacetime. Today, I'm reaching the mountains of Peloponnese, and I'm getting inspired by all the fragrant beauties this land has to offer. I'm located between two of the larger mountains of Greece, the Anrea Mountain and Mount Erymanthos. It is summer, but due to the height, the temperature is slightly gently cool. There is a mild, fresh wind coming from the mountain paths, balancing the heat of the approaching sun. Due to the proximity to some beautiful mountain forests, and of course due to the season, this video will revolve around fresh, woody perfumes. Enter this summer mountain path along with me, and of course, enjoy. Our journey begins with Lana by Santa Maria Novella. This is one of the most unique fragrances I have ever come across. It is an eau de Cologne made with craftsmanship and artistry. The first impression is that of a velvety, sleek, herbaceous blend with bitter and sweet aspects. I get a quality reminiscent of the inside of a bark, like when you take a close whiff from a freshly cut wood. There is also a very dry floral accord, something between a rose and a lavender. The official website of Santa Maria Novella also mentions fig flowers. And if you, like me, are wondering about fig flowers, know here that they are found within the pear-shaped bloom the fig tree produces, and these flowers turn eventually to the fruit we consume. So figs are actually a flower and not a fruit, something I hadn't the slightest idea. The dry, sweet, and almost salty character of the fig is very distinctive in this fragrance, along with the woody character, which has a very unique characteristic. It almost feels like cotton. It is a very soft woody character. It's satin-like, which makes it absolutely beautiful. Precious woods include sandalwood, which adds to the dry, sleek quality of the fig, along with cedar and vetiver. The application, as you see, there is no sprayer. The application, I put a quality into my hand and then rub it on my clothes and on my skin. The perfumers intended to evoke the sensation of sinking your hands into wool, and I think that they managed to create a very unique, a very modern herbal and woody perfume, perfect for a summer on the mountain and for the whole natural aesthesis, the natural environment that surrounds me. So this was Lana from Santa Maria Novella. The second fresh woody fragrance that is perfect for a summer on the mountains is Escentric No. 1 by Escentric Molecules. First impression, woods and lemons. The combination of the musky Iso-E Super along with the Amalfi lemon gives to this woody perfume a creamy aesthesis, almost something like a meringue quality. To my nose, it's very different compared to Molecule No. 1 in the way that the latter feels more mineral and transparent, while this one, it's creamier, muskier, and of course more citrusy with the addition of the Amalfi lemon. I get the impression of sandalwood shavings infused with zesty lemon drops. There is also a note of iris in here, which offers to this perfume a rooty, earthy, and powdery aesthesis and a fleeting quality, escaping you whenever you are about to catch it. It really complements the crisp mountain atmosphere. Its discreet, non-perfumey quality feels somehow consistent with the natural environment, perfect for every day and for all genders. For a crisp mountain summer, Escentric No. 1 by Escentric Molecules. We're heading to the earthier, woody aspects of the mountain forests with Oxiana by Profumum Roma. I only have this 10 ml decant at the moment. This is another very unique woody perfume which feels very, very dry. It almost brings me the impression of light-colored woods that have just been upbraided, rubbed with sandpaper. It also evokes to me the sensation of a forest floor during a very warm summer where its capacity of water is the lowest. It is earthy, powdery and mossy. In my experience, the warmth of the mountain sun along with the crisp mountain air accentuate this beautiful, dry, woody, earthy aspect of Oxiana. It is not an easy scent, it's not for everyone, but it is a beauty either way. As always, Profumum Roma offers exquisite and unique blends. Oxiana by Profumum Roma. For a fluffier woody sensation, I bring Smart by Anrea Maack Perfumes. This is a ghostly, ethereal, dainty, woody perfume that embraces you like a veil of scent. It almost feels like wood powder with a mineral and at the same time powdery floral violet touch. The sandalwood and musky character are quite pronounced, offering a soapy, minimal and discreetly woody blend of tranquility. It's a scent that evokes calmness and peace of mind. It's beautiful. I get the image of clouds traveling above the mountain peaks through a crystal blue summer sky. This is the sensation I get with Smart by Anrea Maack. The next perfume is inspired by a myth that was born in this region, and that is the hunt of the Erymanthos boar by Hercules. The Erymanthos boar was a mythical creature that took the form of a tameless boar which had vast weight and foaming jaws and attacked and frightened the region, destroyed the crops, killed all animals, and even disturbed the life of the centaurs that resided in the Foloi oak forest, which is very near to this region. Hercules took the task to hunt and capture this beast and bring it alive to King Eurystheus. For this reason, I have brought to you the Huntsman Red Cedarwood Cologne by Jo Malone. This is a beautiful, warm, boozy fragrance with a vibrant, peppery feel and a beautiful whiskey nuance, which offers a captivating, intoxicating depth to the fragrance. Its notes point to something more wintry because it has cedarwood, pimento, and whiskey. But because of its cologne synthesis, it is perfectly worn in a crisp summer night. I find this perfume very sensual, very warm. It's creamy, woody, almost ambery, and very mellow. It feels like it becomes one with your skin. This is the second bottle. I already have used one. It gives me the impression of a very high quality whiskey that has captured the scent of its wooden barrel, and there's also a tiny bit of sugar added. This region is full of thyme and lavender, so the next scent could not be missing from my list of fresh, woody perfumes for a summer on a mountain. Cologne pour le Matin by MFK. A rejuvenating, awakening combination of citrus and herbs. I really like many cologne type scents that MFK has created, like Petit Matin and also Aqua Celestia, and this is no exception. This is a classic cologne with the best quality possible, if I could describe it in one phrase. It features the note of white thyme, which is a type of thyme that has little white flowers. Its scent profile is warm, spicy, herbaceous, and has also a hint of camphor. I definitely can get a camphor-like aesthesis in a beautiful, discreet way, along with the beautiful lavender, which adds to this soothing and calming aesthesis that this cologne offers. The lemons, the citruses, give to the drier aspects of the herbs a very awakening, rejuvenating quality. It really gives you a clear mind. It's such a beautiful, delicate, classic cologne perfume. This perfume almost gives me a wheat and oats quality. I don't know how it manages to do that. Apparently, the way the drier aspects and the citrusy aspects blend in here create a wheat aesthesis, which is very, very interesting. If you like cologne type perfumes, unisex perfumes, non-perfumey, more natural, this is an absolute must. Cologne pour le Matin by MFK. Journey to this mountain path has come to an end. I hope you enjoy the talk about these fresh woody perfumes. I have some fresh lavender here with me. It is a land of natural wonders, and I always feel so much appreciation for being able to be here and share this beautiful place with you. I hope I will see you again in my next video. Until then, I send you a beautiful, herbal and calming hug and wish you all the best for a beautiful summer.